Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Okay, my humble obeisances to His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and all the acharyas in the Sampradaya. And my humble obeisances to all of you on Zoom, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Thank you so much. So today we are continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So until yesterday we saw until oh sorry, today's I have to take a different 1 second. It's in the 3rd chapter. Just a moment, I'll take. Hare Krishna. So, can you see Prabhuji? Can you see the screen share? Okay. I'm continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, we are in Canto 1, Chapter 3 and verse 4. Okay. So, Pashyanti ado rupam adabhra chakshusha sahasrapadoru bhujananadbhutam sahasramurdha shravanakshi nasikam sahasramauli ambara kundalo lasat. Synonyms: Pashyanti, see, Ada, the form of the Purusha, Rupam, form, Adabhra, perfect, Chakshusha, by the eyes, Sahasrapada, thousands of legs, Uru, thighs, Bhuja Anana, hands and faces, Adbhutam, wonderful, Sahasra, thousands of Murdha, heads, Shravana, ears, Akshi, eyes, Nasikam, noses, Sahasra, thousands, Mauli, garlands, Ambara, dresses, Kundala, earrings, Ullasat, all glowing. Translation: the devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces. All extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings, and are adorned with garlands, perfect. With our present materialist senses, we cannot perceive anything of the transcendental Lord. Our present senses are to be rectified by the process of devotional service, and then the Lord himself becomes revealed to us. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the transcendental Lord can be perceived only by pure devotional service. So it's confirmed in the Vedas that only devotional service can lead one to the side of the Lord, and that only devotional service can reveal him. In the Brahma Samhita also, it is said that the Lord is always visible to the devotees whose eyes have been anointed with the tinge of devotional service. So we have to take information of the transcendental form of the Lord from persons who have actually seen him with perfect eyes smeared with devotional service. In the material world also, we do not always see things with our own eyes. we sometimes see through the experience of those who have actually seen or done things. If that is the process for experiencing a mundane object, it's more perfectly applicable in matters transcendental. So only with patience and perseverance can we realize the transcendental subject matter regarding the absolute truth and its different forms. He is formless to the neophytes, but he is in transcendental form to an expert servitor. Okay, so here they're talking about the Virat Rupa, okay, the material, the universal form of the Lord. Okay, so the devotees with their perfect eyes, okay, only they can see the form of the Purusha. Now, just a moment. So these devotees, only those devotees who are pure, like, perfect. Only with that perfect eyes, they can see the Lord. Okay. We can see even the spiritual form of the Lord or even the material form of the Lord. This universal form is the material form of the Lord. But even to see this form of the Lord, one needs to have divine vision. Okay, excuse me. So these, for even seeing the universal form of the Lord, also we need divine eyes. That's why Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, I will give you divine eyes to see my universal form. So this universal form of the Lord, usually the neophyte devotees, because the devotees who are already well versed in the devotional service, okay, they already have faith in the Lord, okay, so we can easily, like, the form of the Lord, we can worship the form of the Lord because we have faith in the Lord. But these neophyte devotees who are coming who are new to bhakti devotion, so for them you have to explain to them. So these, for them, like, if you only, they can only connect with the universal form of the Lord, like, so that is why we are talking about this universal form of the Lord. So Arjuna, he was he already had faith in the Lord, so he was not very much like, wanted to see the universal form, but later people will not believe. So for their sake, like, he wanted to see the universal form. So he was thinking in his mind. So the Supreme Lord, because he's Purushottama, he could understand the mind of Arjuna. So he showed him voluntarily, he himself showed him the universal form, his universal form. And he told, I'm showing this universal form first only to you. I've never shown this to anybody else. Okay. So how the Lord manifests in the material world? So through his universal form. Okay, that. And also when he manifested this universal form to Arjuna, the Devatas also could see him, this universal form at that time. Okay, and some people from the outer space also, even they also could see this form because they also had their divine eyes. So And in this body, like, of the Lord, there are thousands of heads, ears. Like here, they're showing the supreme power of the Lord in this universal form, so that everybody will believe, okay, they will have some faith, okay, the Lord has powers like that, the people, the neophyte devotees. So usually we explain to them with the universal form of the Lord, the powers of the Lord, everything, okay? So there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, noses, and all that. And they're decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. And actually, this universal form is so gigantic, it is spread throughout the universe. But Arjuna could see everything sitting in on the chariot of Krishna itself, because Krishna gave him the divine eyes to see, okay? So, Divya Chakshu. So, because of that only, he could easily see the entire universal form, which is pervaded throughout the universe. So, actually, with our present material eyes, we cannot perceive anything transcendental, okay? So, only with devotional service, we can see any form of the Lord. And even it's also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that only by devotional service we can perceive the Lord. And also in the Vedas, it is confirmed like only by devotional service we can get nearer to the Lord. And also in Brahma Samhita, it says, like, the Lord is visible to those devotees' eyes which are anointed with the tinge of devotional service. So if we want to know about the form of the Lord or any other activities of the Lord, then we have to approach the persons who have actually seen the Lord with perfect eyes, because only they can see the Lord. They are complete with devotion, perfect, like, So they're full of devotion and love for the Lord. So only they can see the Lord, and from their descriptions, we can understand about the Lord and his qualities and everything else. So we do not see in the material world, we usually, we do not always see things with our own eyes, even in the material world also. How sometimes we see, like the scientists explain, like, no, the outer space is like this, like that, everything. The moon is like this, like that. So, okay, we have not, okay, some specialists, they've gone there, but we have not gone to the moon or places like that. So all these things are certain things, like, the scientists examine through the microscope and they tell us. Of course, in the lab, we can also examine, but how much can we examine? So even in the mundane world, everything we are not seeing through our own eyes. We are only seeing through the eyes of the experts, okay? So if that is the process, even for a mundane object, then imagine how perfectly it's applicable for spiritual matters, transcendental matters, okay? So only with patience and perseverance, we can see the transcendental subject matter, okay? And all the different forms of the Lord, we can only see with patience and perseverance. If we do start doing bhakti, and when we attain perfection, only then can we, with all the ingredients of bhakti, whatever is needed, if we follow everything perfectly, then at a certain point in time, we attain perfection and we can see the Lord. But for the neophyte devotees, for a person who's coming to do bhakti, just starting stage, then it's called a neophyte. So for such a neophyte, because he doesn't have much knowledge, he also might think that the Lord is formless. Okay. But for an experienced, for a Uttama devotee, for a advanced devotee, the Lord is with form. Okay. So he knows, because he has knowledge and he has done bhakti and he is realized through bhakti, he has realized the Lord. And so he understands that the Lord, he knows that the Lord has a form. But for a neophyte devotee, the Lord is formless. That's why he's connecting with this universal form of the Lord. Okay. Only with that, like, he can connect. Otherwise, he's not able to understand the form of the Lord, like qualities of the Lord. He's able to understand only when you describe the material, the universal form of the Lord. This universal form of the Lord is material, and it is also very much temporary. It's not like the other transcendental forms of the Lord, which are eternal and they are spiritual. Okay. But this universal form of the Lord is temporary and material. Text 1.3.5. Etannanavataranam nidhanam bijam avyayam yasyam shamseshena srijyante devatiryan naradaya. Synonyms: etat, this form; nana, multifarious; avataranam, of the incarnations; nidhanam, source; bijam, seed; avyayam, indestructible; yasya, whose; amsha, plenary portion; amshena, part of the plenary portion; Srijyante, create; Deva, demigods; Tiryak, animals; Nara Adaya, human beings and others. Translation. This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. Purport. Okay, this is a long purport, so I'll just keep telling. So this form, that is the second manifestation of the Purusha, who's expanding from the first Purusha, who is Mahavishnu or Karnodakshaya Vishnu. So from that, this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is expanding. So this is the second manifestation of the Purusha, and he is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. Okay, so and so from him, there are different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. So actually, first living being who comes out of this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is through the navel. From the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, a lotus stem crops up. It shoots up, and from that stem, like from the petals, the lotus petals, on the lotus petals, Lord Brahma is born. So he manifests on this lotus petals, on the lotus that is sprouting out of the navel lake of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So the first living being who comes out of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is Brahma. And from Brahma, different living entities are coming. So he is responsible for the secondary creation. Okay, that is Visarga. So the first primary creation, Sarga, is done by the Supreme Lord. Now, the secondary creations, Visarga, is carried forward by Lord Brahma with the knowledge that he attained from the Supreme Lord. So now different living entities like, all these other people, like once we keep reading down, we'll know. Okay. Like you have from Brahma where Daksha, Manus, and all these people come, like, So, Marichi, Daksha, Marichi, Manus, all these people come so that they create more population. Okay. Purport. The Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, entered in each of them as a second Purusha, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. When he saw that within the universe there was only darkness and space, without a resting place, he filled half of the universe with water from his own perspiration and laid himself down on the same water. This water is called Garbhodaka. Then from his navel, the stem of the lotus flower sprouted, and on the flower petals, the birth of Brahma, or the master engineer of the universal plan, took place. Brahma became the engineer of the universe, and the Lord himself took charge of the maintenance of the universe as Vishnu. Brahma was generated from Rajoguna of Prakriti, or the mode of passion in nature, and Vishnu became the Lord of the mode of goodness. Vishnu, being transcendental to all the modes, is always aloof from materialistic affection. This has already been explained. From Brahma, there is Rudra, Shiva, who is in charge of the mode of ignorance or darkness. He destroys the whole creation by the will of the Lord. Therefore, all three, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are incarnations of the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. From Brahma, the other demigods like Daksha, Marichi, Manu, and many others become incarnated to generate living entities within the universe. This Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is glorified in the Vedas in the hymns of Garbhastuti, which begin with the description of the Lord as having thousands of heads, etc. The Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the Lord of the universe, and although he appears to be lying within the universe, he is always transcendental. This also has already been explained. The Vishnu, who is the plenary portion of the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life. and he is known as the maintainer of the universe, or Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So the three features of the original Purusha are thus understood, and all the incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. Okay, so now in the beginning, Mahavishnu or Karnodakshayi Vishnu is lying on the causal ocean. He actually, at the time of destruction, all the jivas who are merged in the Mahatattva enter into the body of, into the pores, through the pores of Mahavishnu, body pores, they enter into the body of Mahavishnu. And the skin pores of Mahavishnu, they enter into the body of Mahavishnu. And at the time of creation, and when they get agitated, the jivas, after a long time, when they're in the body of Mahavishnu, then after a long period of time, the jivas become restless and they get agitated. At that time, Mahavishnu, he just breathes out, he exhales. So when he exhales, all this Mahatattva is it is coming into the universe, material world. So, and then from this Mahatattva, okay, after creating this innumerable universes in the Mahatattva, first, seed form, they are there, these universes inside the Mahatattva. So when Mahavishnu, he glances at this Mahatattva, at the material universe, then everything gets agitated, and then the creation starts taking place. Okay, all this material, all these elements, they combine with each other. Okay, and they form the subtle elements, they combine with each other, and then they form the gross material elements. Okay, they form this gross material. All these ingredients, they're all formed material objects. So similarly, all this universe also, they're all formed and they're created. Then Mahavishnu, he expands into as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and he enters into all these universes which are created, okay, from Mahatattva. And then Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, after entering the universes, if everywhere he finds it is dark and everything, there's only empty space. So now there is no resting space also for Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So what he does, he just fills up half of the universe with water from his own perspiration, and he lies down on the same water. So this water is called Garbhodaka. That's why he's called Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay, so Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then from his navel, okay, the stem of the lotus flower sprouts. And on the flower petals, the birth of Brahma happens, okay? And he is the one who's the chief engineer or the master engineer of this universe. And Brahma, what does he do? He and he's actually the secondary creator. And then the Lord himself is now, because he's creating the secondary creation. And then after that, Lord Vishnu itself is taking charge of the maintenance of the Vishnu, of the universe, material universe. So, okay. So Brahma is generated from Rajoguna of Prakriti, okay, or the mode of passion. Okay. And Vishnu is the Lord of the mode of goodness. So because goodness here, actually we should say not ordinary material goodness, but he is in the Shuddha Sattva, so he is above this ordinary material gunas. Okay, Shuddha Sattva is spiritual. Okay, so, and because of that, he's not affected because he's in the pure goodness. Okay, so that is why he's not affected by these material modes at all. He's above the material modes, and is always aloof from materialistic affection. So this we already saw, and which we already saw in the previous verses. Okay, about this they explained. And Brahma, and from Brahma there is Shiva, Rudra. Okay, Rudra is Shiva only, a form of Shiva. So he is coming from, is expanding from Brahma, who is in charge of the mode of ignorance or darkness. So Rudra is born from Brahma, and he is in charge of the mode of ignorance. So at the time of annihilation, he destroys the whole creation by the will of the Lord. Therefore, all these three, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, are incarnations of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. It is already told at the starting of this verse. All this material avatars, I mean all the avatars in the material universe, they expand from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Okay. So, and from Brahma and other demigods, like from Brahma, okay, other demigods like Daksha, Marichi, Manu, and they are all coming out. Okay. And then they are all incarnations. So many other these incarnations and all, they come out of Brahma. Why? To generate more living entities within this universe, because the universe needs to be filled up with this jivas. So these people are creating more and more jivas. So this Garbhodaksha Vishnu is glorified in the Vedas, okay, in the hymns of Garbhasuti, it's being told. And it begins with a description of the Lord as having thousands of heads and all that. So this Lord, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, is the Lord of the universe. So although he's lying in this universe, he's always transcendental. He's not at all material, okay? He's always transcendental. This we have already seen, like, no, because he's on the Shuddha Sattva platform, he's always spiritual. Okay. So, and the Vishnu is also plenary portion of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. That is, we already talked about this Kshirodaksha Vishnu. He is a super soul. He enters all these jivas now. Okay, because there are so many universes which are created from Mahatattva, and inside all of these universes, Garbhodaksha Vishnu expands from Mahavishnu and he enters all these universes. And from Garbhodaksha Vishnu, there's a lotus petal, lotus flower which sprouts out, and on that flower petals, Brahma is manifested. And from Brahma, again, the secondary creation happens, and then he is responsible for the manifestation of Daksha, Maruchi, Manu, and all these people who are again. These people are all incarnated to generate more living entities within this universe. Okay, so that's how the secondary creation further progresses. And this Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he expands as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, okay, who is the super soul of this entire universe. So he enters into each and every jiva's heart, okay, and then he maintains the universe. And then this Vishnu, who is the plenary portion of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life and is known as the maintainer of the universe, or Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So these three features of the original Purusha are thus understood. And all the incarnations with the universe are emanations from this Kshirodaksha Vishnu only. Okay. So in different millennia, there are different incarnations and they're innumerable, although some of them are very prominent, such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, and many others. So these incarnations are called Leela incarnations. They are coming as incarnations, as avatara. Avatara means from the spiritual world, they're coming to the material world. That's why we call them incarnations or avatara. Means from the upper regions, they're coming to the lower regions. That is called avatara. From the spiritual world, they're descending down to the earth planet. So we call them incarnations or avatara. So there are many avatars, innumerable avatars, like, they're the prominent ones, a few of them are named here, like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, and all. So these incarnations are all Leela avatars because they take this incarnations, avatara form to do a certain Leela, certain pastimes in this material world. So that is why we are calling them Leela avatars, because they are descending to do some Leelas, pastimes. Okay. And then there are also qualitative incarnations like Gunavataras, such as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Just now we saw them. No? Shiva or Rudra. Rudra, you can be specific, more specific Rudra, because he is in charge of the annihilation of this material world. So these are the qualitative incarnations or the Guna avatars. All this we will see elaborately in Laghu Bhagavatamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami, translated into English by His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj. All that we'll see later. Now you just understand this much. So these people, these Gunavataras, they take charge of the different modes of material nature. So we have these material natures, right? Three material modes, passion, ignorance, and goodness. So these people, the Gunavataras, they take charge of these modes, okay, material modes. And Lord Vishnu is non-different from the personality of Godhead. Okay, so he is Vishnu Tattva only, Vishnu. And Lord Shiva is in the marginal position between the personality of Godhead and the living entities. Okay, he is not completely Bhagwan and is not also Jiva. So he's in the marginal position. Okay, and um, Brahma is always a Jiva Tattva. Okay, we are Tatastha Shakti. Okay, so and even Brahma, though he is the supermost Jiva in the material world, still he is a Jiva only. So he's a Jiva Tattva only. Only sometimes. Okay, so okay, I'll proceed along with the script Prabhupada has given. So the highest pious living being or the greatest devotee of the Lord is empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation. So certain amount of powers are given to Brahma so that he can do the universal creation. Okay, and he's called Brahma. So this particular Jiva who's empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation, okay, secondary creation, is called a standard name, is given a name called Brahma. It's not the, it is the name of the position, okay, not the name of that, okay, particular person. It is the name of the position. So anybody who's qualified, any qualified Jiva can take the position of Brahma at different intervals. So whenever, so his power is like compared to the power of the sun reflected in valuable stones and jewels. We have the sunstones, right? So in these stones, whenever you keep it in the sun, okay, for a while, they can reflect, okay, because they're getting the energy of the sun in them. So those are called the sunstones. Like that, the Supreme Lord, like, you know, he empowers this Brahma with the power to create. And when there is no such living being, qualified living being to take the charge of the post of Brahma, the Lord himself becomes a Brahma and takes charge of the post. This is a rare position, okay? And Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being. He is a plenary portion of the Lord. But because Lord Shiva is in direct touch with material nature, is not exactly in the same transcendental position as Lord Shiva. So Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu is not directly associated with the material nature, okay? But Shiva is directly in contact with the material nature. So he is affected by the gunas, okay? They say that, but he's also not affected by the gunas. When we go into the commentaries, we will understand even Shiva is not actually in Tamoguna. He is in charge of Tamoguna. Even he is not actually affected by this Tamoguna. Okay. Okay. The difference, like now they're telling how Shiva is not like Vishnu, okay? Because Vishnu, though is in the material world, is not in direct contact with matter. And so he is transcendental to matter and is not affected by the gunas. Whereas Shiva is affected by the gunas. So that's what they're telling. So now there is the difference between Shiva and Vishnu is like between the milk and curd. Okay. Actually, curd is nothing but milk only. But yet it cannot be used in place of milk. Okay. So Vishnu, certain places we only need milk. So Vishnu is in a higher position and Shiva is because he's a plenary a portion of the Lord, okay, but he's not the Lord also. And next incarnations of the Manus, I told you from Brahma in the secondary creation, all these people come, like, you know, Daksha, Maricha, Manus, all these people, because they again reproduce, and then they many more jivas are coming into existence. Okay, so that's all. From Brahma, all these people, all the other Manus and all these people come. So let's talk about this Manus. Manus means usually they're the head of in every like, you know, millennium. Then there are these incarnations called Manus. So we call every like this place is called Manvantara. All this also we will discuss. In specifically, there are chapters on Manvantara itself here also, and also in other books like Laghu Bhagavatamrita and all that. Now let's discuss an outline of this. So the next incarnations are the Manus, because here we are discussing from the Supreme Lord Krishna, because Krishna is the source of all avatars. That is the heading of this chapter. So we are just in general talking about the different avatars who are coming. Later on, we can expand on them in detail. Okay, now don't worry too much. So if you don't understand, because now we are only talking the outline. Okay. So the next incarnations are the Manus, because these people are coming in the secondary creation from Brahma. So, and why? Because the universe needs to be filled with the jivas, like, so these people are all reproducing, and then we are getting more and more jivas. So the next incarnations are the Manus. So in one day of Brahma, because Brahma is also like that, like us, he also lives for 100 years. Okay. So so now we are talking about one day of Brahma. Within one day's duration of life of Brahma, which is calculated by our solar year as 43 lakh years. Okay. So one day, actually it's 43 lakh 60,000. But here they're given a round figure, so let's stick to this so that there is less confusion. Okay, all the details will go later. So now it's calculated, a day of Brahma, how it's calculated is 43 lakh years, 43 lakh into 1,000 years, because in every day of Brahma, there are 1,000 yuga cycles. Okay. We will go into depth later. Now you just understand this much. A day of Brahma is calculated as this mathematical figure alone, you remember enough. All the details will go later. Okay, because we have to go step by step. Like, we can't take everything in one step. So this 43 lakh into 1,000 years, there are 14 Manus. Okay, so the lifetime of, that is a day of Brahma is calculated in by our solar year as 43 lakh into 1,000. Okay. This is the day of Brahma. One day of Brahma, see, he's got such a long lifetime. Just the day of Brahma itself is so mind-boggling. Okay, that is. Okay. So in this one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Okay. So now there are 420 Manus in 1 month. So if you take 14 into 30, you will get 420. Okay. So this is all simple calculation, no problem. But still I have to tell now, so I'm telling, don't think I'm treating you like kids. Okay. So there are 420 Manus in 1 month of Brahma and 5,040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma. So 420 into 1 year means into 12. You calculate, you will get 5,040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma. So Brahma lives for 100 years of his age, just like we live for 100 years. Ant lives for 100 years. Brahma lives for 100 years. Everybody has this jivas. All of us have this 100 years lifespan, right? In Kali Yuga. So, and therefore there are 5,040 into 100, because 100 years now. So 1 year we calculated 5,040. Now for 100 years means into 100, we are getting 5,04,000 Manus in the duration of Brahma's life. Understood? So for a particular Brahma, okay, there are 5,04,000 Manus in the duration of Brahma's life. Okay, for in his lifetime, okay, there are this many 5,04,000 Manus are there. And then there are like this is we're talking about one universe and one Brahma. Like this, there are innumerable universes, okay? And in this material world, okay? So it's all this innumerable universes with one Brahma in each of them. So every universe has one Brahma, right? For the secondary creation. And all of them are created and annihilated during the breathing time of the Purusha. So all these Brahmas are also, they're gone with that once the annihilation takes place, that's all. The complete annihilation, I mean, not partial annihilation. Okay, during the night of Brahma, there is a partial annihilation, but that is not, even at that time is there. Only when there's complete annihilation after the 100 years of Brahma, no, that time, this Brahma is gone, another Brahma will come. Okay, he goes off because he's a qualified jiva. He doesn't go into this thing of the Lord. He goes into the spiritual world because he's a qualified jiva. He's the highest qualified jiva. So he goes off to the spiritual world. And then again, another Brahma comes to that position when there's a new creation. Okay. Therefore, one can simply imagine how many millions of Manus there are during one breath of the Purusha. Imagine. Okay. So, like that. Now, sit and slowly meditate on this, then you will understand, because these are all mind-boggling figures. Now, but anyway, that is not of more importance for us. We are more important is to focus on the bhakti aspect. All this arithmetical calculations, we are not so much interested, but just like, no, we have to talk some philosophy. So for that sake, we are giving this information, but don't break your heads on this. You focus on the devotional aspect of Krishna. Okay. The Manus who are prominent within this universe, because there are so many Manus and their names, all that we are not going to sit and memorize and all that. That's just for the sake of knowledge, we are knowing. Because, okay, we need to have complete knowledge, so we are going through all that. Let's not waste our energy into focusing too much on these names of the Manus and their everything, all their descendants and all that, because that itself one big chapter is there. So we just, okay, we read that, understand, okay, it's like that. That's all. But if anybody want to go deep into that, that is also your wish. The Manus who are prominent within this universe are as follows. So they're giving some of the prominent Manus names, because we can't remember all the Manus, because some of them are important, like, when we, for this and this and this and all, we'll talk. So that's why they're given some prominent names, okay? Okay. Now, even for example, even in our material world, if we take the list of prime ministers in a particular country, at least in our own country, we won't remember everybody. It's of not much relevance. Okay. So, but we will only remember the most important prime ministers who have been really effective, like, who have done such good work, great work. We remember them. Otherwise, everybody, people will not remember. Like, that's the same thing with any field. Like, there are thousands of actors, but in the entire world, okay, because now we have become a global village. So we will not only think in terms of my state, your state, or like my country, your country, like that. It's become a global village. So we are also seeing like other movies and all that, okay, whatever related. Then there are, in that case, there are thousands of actors. So whom do we remember? We only take some prominent people. It's the same thing with the sports. We take only, there are thousands of sportsmen, but we only take certain, the prominent people like that. Here they're giving, because there are so many millions of, like, um, millions of Manus. So we can't remember all the Manus names. We are only there. They have given only a list of the prominent Manus here. Like within this universe, they are like Yagna as Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Swaroshisha Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikunta as Raivata Manu. Because in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, na? So in this 14 Manus, we are taking the most prominent people. Don't worry if you don't understand everything now. Just relax. For this and all, there are separate chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam also in detail. That time we'll go. Now, because these are all people coming from the Supreme Lord Krishna. So we are simply talking about them. They are all coming from the Supreme Lord Krishna. Okay, like that we are getting an idea. That's all. So then Vibhu as Swaro Chisha Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikunta as Raivata Manu, Ajita as Chakshusha Manu, Vamana as Vaivasvata Manu. This is our present age, is the Vaivasvata Manu. But this Manu is not here, is hidden in the Himalayas, because this age is so, this thing, like, full of quarrel and very agitating. So he's safely gone and he's sitting in the Himalayas. So after this Kali Yuga, he'll come. Means this Vaivasvata Manu, the present age is under the Vaivasvata Manu. Sarvabhauma as Savarni Manu. Rishabha as Daksha Savarni Manu. Vishwaksena as Brahma Savarni Manu. Dharma Setu as Dharma Savarni Manu. Sudhama as Rudra Savarni Manu. Yogeshwara as Deva Savarni Manu. And Brihad Bhanu as Indra Savarni Manu. So these are the prominent Manus. Okay, Manu is also a position like Indra, like Brahma, like that. It is a post, okay. So in that also the qualified Jivas, they go and take the position. So whoever, the prominent Jivas who took the post of this Manu, they are being told here. So usually there are 14 Manus in a day of Brahma. So now they have given the 14 prominent Manus names. That's all. No other confusion. These are the names of one set of 14 Manus covering 4,300 million solar years as described above. Okay, 4,300 million solar years as described above. Okay. Okay. Then there are the Yugavataras, or the incarnations of the millennia, because there are 4 yugas, right? So in that 4 yugas also, you need different Yugavataras. Okay. So they are the incarnations, yuga avatars of the millennia. Because they are avatars of the millennia, they are called in yuga avatars, yugas. They are avatars of the yugas, so they are called yuga avatars. So these yugas are known as Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. All of you know this, but then there are different kinds of people who come and listen to this across various platforms. So, and also since I'm starting from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is my duty to tell clearly, crystal clear manner. So if you know also, there's no harm in repetition. So please tolerate with me, okay? For the benefit of everybody, like I have to tell, okay? And it is also good for us again and again if we abhyasena, again and again repetition, it will reinforce our knowledge, okay, thoroughly. That's all. The incarnations of each yuga, so that when we go for higher tattva, there will not be any confusion. There will be complete clarity if we go from the foundation very clearly. Okay. The incarnations of each yuga are of different color. Okay, in this yuga, this different yuga avatars, they're different colors. They are colors like white, red, black, and yellow. Okay, so in the Satya Yuga, the yuga avatara is in white color, Shweta, and in the Treta Yuga, the Yuga Avatara is in red color because they're doing all sacrifices. No, it's like related with blood, like, you know. So that's why they kept they got the color of this Yuga Avatara is red and is called Rakta. And then in the Dwapar Yuga, it is actually, they've told it black, but it is Shama, black. Okay, let's go by what Prabhupada told. No confusion, black. Okay. So in Dwapar Yuga, Lord Krishna is black colored, appeared in black color. Okay. So actually it's Shama, for your information, I'm telling Shama means bluish black. Okay. So because Krishna, he appears in Dwapar Yuga, so he is actually every Kali Yuga, every Dwapar Yuga, Krishna doesn't descend. Okay. It is like, you know, but the Yuga Avatara who comes regularly in Dwapar Yuga, he is black in color. And in Kali Yuga, because Prabhupada can't give all the details, like, you know, for a beginner, so he has given an outline also, he himself, like. So later on, when we go into the detail, like, you know, that time we can go further, all this detail, more details. And in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya is in yellow. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't come in every yuga as he doesn't manifest in every yuga. Okay, only once in a day of Brahma he will come. Even Krishna will come only once in a day of Brahma. Okay, so don't worry. All this also you'll understand later. If I tell like this, don't get confused. So all these technical terms, no problem. Okay, so when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, he is yellow in color. So that's why they're telling Pita. Okay. The Kali Yuga Avatara is in Pita color, means yellow. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is golden in color. You cannot say specifically yellow, it's golden. So they are telling yellow, Pita. So all the incarnations of the Lord are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. So, and because all this, every tiny detail is in the scriptures. Okay. So now anybody, no man can come and say, or nobody can come and tell, I am the Supreme Lord, I am an incarnation. Many people are telling like that, many jivas, and many people are following them also. Actually, all the incarnations of the Lord which appear as avatara in this material world are all mentioned in the Shastras. Okay, there is no, Prabhupada writes, there is no scope for an impostor to become an incarnation. For an incarnation must be mentioned in the Shastras. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord, but great sages agree by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Puri, okay, when he just saw Jagannath, he just fainted. So then completely he was not in consciousness at all. He's like, you know, so now, like, you know, it's not that he's acting, like, you know, but still Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was the court Pandita. So he, like, he was also like, so he just asked the people to bring him to his house. Then he checked him. He checked his breath. He put that thread, like that fine particles of the cloth, like, you know, he put it near his nostrils. And then he could check, because there are various techniques in the scriptures to know whether the person is real or not real. incarnation of the Lord or not, that because he has so much knowledge of the scriptures, so he could easily find out, oh, he's not an ordinary person. He could find out. Of course, he immediately did not know he's the Supreme Lord. Of course, later on, after discussions, various discussions on the Shastras with the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then by the confirmation of his brother-in-law, all this, like, all these details we'll see later when we are talking about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But anyway, now in general, let's tell. So even then also, like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't go and tell anybody that I am the Supreme Lord. In fact, when people come and appreciate him, glorify him as the Supreme Lord, he used to close his ears. He said, don't tell like that. Please don't talk such nonsense, he will say. Okay, he used to close his ears because he didn't want people to glorify him like that. So, but our people who are not real incarnations, then they just, most of them, they're in the present Kali Yuga, they're telling we are the Supreme Lord. They're simply trying to get the honor from the people and misguide them, like, and people also should not put their faith in such people who are falsely declaring themselves as incarnations. And in fact, we are not even supposed to worship the devatas also. Then what about even the lower jivas? So even devatas also, we can respect them as the servants of the Lord, that's all. But independently, we should not worship the devatas also, okay? So let's all be very careful from now on. It's very simple, just worship Krishna, all the problems solved. Then we will not do any aparadh. Even thinking of Shiva is also as a Supreme Lord is a fault. It's one of the aparadhs, okay? So then why we have to risk all this? Just let's only worship Krishna. That's what Krishna is telling. Just worship me in Bhagavad Gita. Only fools worship, okay, the demigods in the 9th chapter. Of course, in the second chapter, now he praises the demigods and all that. But actually, when he goes there to the 9th chapter, he says, do not only the fools worship the devatas. Okay, but we should not insult devatas and all that, because that's very wrong. We should not even insult the scriptures also describing them. We should be very careful. We just need to follow the instructions and just worship Krishna. So all the problems solved. We don't have to go into more details also, no confusion also. That's why Narada Muni, he told Vyasadeva, why have you written so many Puranas, glorifying so many Devatas? Instead, you just write one Purana, because the people of Kali Yuga are already confused and they have very short lifetime. They don't have time to read all the scriptures. So you simply give the essence of all the scriptures into one thing and clearly mention the process and clearly mention that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. That is why the Paribhasha Sutra of Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, which we will read later now in a short while. Okay, so means Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and then okay, and like, so so the features of the incarnation, the particular type of mission with which he has to execute are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. So whenever there's an incarnation of the Lord, because they incarnate at a specific time to do some work, okay? So Matsya comes for some work, Varaha comes for some job, Mohini comes for some job. So they have a certain Leela to perform at a certain period of time. Okay, so for that they come. So that is why whenever an incarnation, the features of the incarnation, what all incarnations will come and what is their mission, everything is clearly explained in the revealed scriptures. So nobody can cheat us. Okay, if they cheat, we can easily, a person in knowledge will know, because he can refer to the scriptures. But even more easier is to go by this, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam and scriptures like this, where you can just read one scripture and gain the essence of it. Okay, that is why this is the Amal Purana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself called this the spotless literature. If you just read this, it is the essence of all the scriptures, because everybody doesn't have time to read all the scriptures. Okay, that's why. Apart from the direct incarnations, there are time up. Okay, I'll finish this paragraph in 1 minute. Apart from the direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Such incarnations are directly as well as indirectly empowered. When they're directly empowered, they're called incarnations. Okay, they're called avatars when they're directly empowered by the Lord Krishna. And when they're indirectly empowered, they are called vibhutis. Okay, sometimes the jivas and other people also, they are empowered. Okay. they are given more powers. So directly empowered incarnations are the Kumaras, Narada, Prithu, Sesha, Ananta, like that, etc. Now, as far as Vibhutis are concerned, they're very explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita in the Vibhuti Yoga chapter. We will also see all this in Bhagavad Gita in very elaborately, don't worry. Okay. And for all these different types of incarnations, the fountainhead is the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Already we saw for all this material, the avatars which are coming into the material world. These are all not material, they're all spiritual, but they are coming into the material world. Okay, they're all expanding from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay, understood. So any doubt? Because no time for you can ask the doubt. Maybe we can continue the doubt in the next session because already 7:32. Any doubts? Okay, you can all unmute yourselves.
No doubts.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. All of you can unmute yourselves and then if you have any doubt. So, okay. If you have, you can always personally ask me also. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for your
Hare Krishna.
support
Thank
and
you.
motivation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.